went for a moped ride a little bit earlier, and I just now noticed. Whoops, on the wrong side. Where is it? Hair. I probably could have went and got a comb through it, but it is what it is. Um, Look, ladies and gentlemen, we are in unique times. We are in interesting times. We are in highly emotional times. And when you're on an airplane, which for some of us may have been a while due to this lockdown and these unique times that we're in, they go through the flight safety training. And in that flight safety training, it says if the oxygen mask does fall down, please put your mask on first before taking care of your children or others that may need your help, or something along those lines. In these times, it can be easy to try to save everybody else, help everybody else while neglecting yourself. So I just wanted to share a few things that I've witnessed during these interesting times, online and in person. Like, look, let's just call it what it is. I mean, around half of the people are celebrating in the streets, and half the people are shaking their head in disbelief and wondering what's going on. And none of us know what's going to go on and how this is going to unfold. But I've come to terms and come to peace that I've done what I can do, and I have my beliefs, I have my opinions. And as a Marine, here we are on the 245th birthday of the United States Marine Corps. So, Semper Fi to all my Marines. Happy birthday to the United States Marine Corps. It's been 27 years since I joined, and 24 when I got out, 23 or I don't know, something like that. But it's been an interesting journey, to say the least. But the bottom line is, in the Marine Corps, I learned a couple things. One, I took an oath to protect and defend the Constitution against enemies, foreign and domestic. And it's always fun for me to go review the Constitution. I'm what could be termed a constitutionalist. Think back to Ron Paul and how Ron wanted to cut off a lot of the different weight, the heaviness of the government, less control, less government. That's what I subscribe to. I subscribe to the Constitution, and I took that oath to defend it, protect it from enemies, foreign and domestic. That said, one thing I can say is I believe all lifelong politicians, to be a lifelong politician, it's pretty much one of the most corrupt things. That's kind of like Hollywood back in the day, the Harvey Weinstein. I see lifelong politicians like the Harvey Weinstein. Everybody knew in Hollywood who Harvey was and what Harvey was up to. It wasn't a surprise. Everyone knew. Similarly, I grew up as a child knowing, oh well, the government, they're just corrupt, and they get paid off, and there's a lot of corruption. We just knew it as a child. I mean, it's not a secret. Yet it's a secret we pretend it doesn't exist. Well, we aren't going to pay any attention to it. I'm hoping that there comes a time sooner than later, similar to Hollywood, where enough was enough. There was a Me Too movement that stopped that nonsense, the mistreatment of women and men, by the way. Like, if you aren't open to that, like Hollywood, there's been allegations for since I've been alive of how they've not only taken advantage of women, but men and young children, right? So it's been that cesspool. People knew it. And finally, through a twist of whatever fate, enough was enough. And it was exposed. And the people who were applauded and the people who were looked up to and people that were respected, the dirt came out, and they are disgusting. And my hope is that occurs in the government, and that occurs to a point where we don't just accept it. Oh, that's how Harvey Weinstein is. And yeah, if you're going to go apply to be an actor, an actress in his movies, that's what you can expect. No, in the government, we should put a firm stance of zero tolerance of corruption. And until we get to that place, it's corrupt. And my concern is what President Eisenhower, shared with the nation when he was leaving in his final speech. He said, we need to beware of the military industrial complex, the very same military industrial complex that a few years later took the life of the president. And that's one of those things. Oh, well, Tom, how, oh, it's not definite. Well, come on now. Come on. We're not that stupid, right? I mean, we can piece this together. That it was an inside job. And they've been rogue since, and rogue to the tune of trillions of dollars. of dark budgets. Not the budgets that we vote on, but trillions of dollars of dark budgets. This is not conjecture. This is not conspiracy. This is fact. Over the decades, it has been entrenched at levels that we, at our highest levels of imagination, couldn't even dream of what's actually happening. The movie quote, "You can't handle the truth." Truth. I can't even say truth. "You can't handle the truth." A Few Good Men. I was in the Marine Corps when that movie came out. And the fact of the matter is, we can't handle the truth. Why are they lying? Why are they keeping secrets in the military industrial complex and in Congress, in the Senate, in the House of Representatives? Why do they feel they need to lie to us? Because if they were to share with us the transparency of what's occurring, we would immediately stop it because it is insane. The levels of corruption are not just the corporations that put the hefty paychecks into people's pockets, and those people are in many cases not actually the people who own the seats, but friends, relatives, family members, things of that nature, because they're not on the radar of being looked at under the microscope like those elected officials are. It's a way to play the game. So they play the game very well, just like Harvey Weinstein played the game very well. And just like everybody knew it happened, and that's just how it was, that's how it's been since I've been alive. I'm 47 years old. Am I 48 now? I don't even remember. 48 now. 48. Holy crap. Happy birthday to me. I forgot. September. We're in November now. I don't know. I had to do the math in my head. So I'm hoping there comes a time where we say enough is enough. Zero tolerance. I took an oath to protect and defend the Constitution from enemies, foreign and domestic, as did every other person who served in the military, regardless of the branch. And I think we all can come together, stand firmly that we have zero tolerance for that. We're not here to sell out our democracy. We're not here to have votes swayed because of corporations paying off people, because of now literal countries putting money in our elected officials' coffers. Not acceptable. Not acceptable by a long shot. They feel it. They know it, that we're onto them. Yet, what we're not onto is the level of deception. Like I said, our wildest imaginations can't even come close to the level of deception that they place upon us. All of the media channels, social, TV, newspapers, are extensions of that military industrial complex. Similar to how Edward Snowden wasn't an employee of the government, he was an employee of various consulting companies. And that's how it's set up now, where every social media network is paid heftily by the US government. Most all of the TV channels paid heftily. Most all of the newspapers paid heftily by the US government. They are extensions of the propaganda machine. And they're very good at it. They call it programming on TV, television programming, because it's very good at doing exactly that, programming the viewers to believe what's being told to them. We are, in essence, living the Truman Show. If you watch the Truman Show, stuff happens and Truman hears about it on the news, and it's all exacerbated and framed and twisted to fit the agenda that they wanted Truman to interpret it as. And that's the reality that we have right now. So that's hard for a lot of people to grasp. The media changed in the mid 90s from being people that were journalists and actually seeking to bring truth to their readers and viewers to being paid teleprompter readers for profits. To be, we are a corporation, a publicly traded corporation, and we need to have our P&L show that to our investors we're doing the right things to get more eyeballs, to get the word out more. So it shifted in the mid 90s and has been multiple decades of paid teleprompter readers, not journalists, who read, who's writing those scripts? Well, as mentioned earlier, they're extensions of the propaganda machine. So I'm saying all this just to set the framework that some may be ready to hear this, some may not be ready to hear that. That's okay. This is the reality that we're in, and it's up to us to discern this. And now what I'm getting to is the common sense thing here is, some people see this and like, yeah, Tom, I mean, you're talking the basic stuff right now. Yeah, I've seen it. I've known it for decades. Thank you for being Captain Obvious. And others are like, no, you are wrong. And guess what? I'm not here to change any of those latter people's opinions. It just is what it is. And guess what? Some people recognize Santa isn't real at a younger age, and some people fight for Santa isn't real into their early teens. You may not like this, but this is the reality that we live in. And you may say, bull crap, I don't believe it. and that's okay. That's your choice. Years from now, you may look back like, holy crap, Tom told me this, and I didn't believe it, but it's clear and obvious. I mean, it's like we're the fish swimming in the water, and some people that don't see it are like, what's this water you speak of? Oh, that's ridiculous. There's no water when we're in the water. It just is what it is. So that being said, that ties into the biggest lesson I'm hoping to impart and share today, which for my marketing friends isn't anything that you probably haven't heard, but it's very important to recognize it's not just for business, it's not just for marketing. And on that note, A, we are being marketed to 100% of our awake time. So if we're awake, we're being marketed to 100% of the time. And the marketing works, the programming works. Um, so just keep that in mind. And similarly, if everybody's doing one thing and you're doing the opposite thing, that's usually the right thing to do. But if everybody's teamed up against one person, you might want to ask yourself why. Why is that? And I like to study a lot. I like to study and see, as Jim Rohn said, study the good, study the bad, study what's going on. There's a new term out there that you're going to be hearing a lot of, and it's this: the Great Reset. COVID-19 has been a catalyst to push through a lot of, in essence, the renaming of New World Order, which George Bush stated. The older Bush, not the most recent one, the older Bush in the late 80s, early 90s, late 80s as the vice president and early 90s as the president, stated it's pretty much inevitable. Like, we will have a New World Order. And that's where we're leading in this COVID, is leading towards the new term for it is the Great Reset. And study that and you'll find, like, holy crap, it's unfolding like a movie script. But I digress. So in this day and age, we have to um, improvise, adapt, and overcome. The three words that I learned in the United States Marine Corps. Whether you were in the Corps or whether you watched movies that talked about the Corps, you'll hear those three words: improvise, adapt, and overcome. Life's going to be what it's going to be. There's certain things we can control, which in my world are my thoughts, my words, my actions. I can't control anyone else's thoughts, words, and actions. I can learn techniques of influence. And that's, as marketers and business owners, we learn that. How can we share our message in a manner that's compelling enough to get people's attention, gain their interest, have them desirous to learn more, and take the actions that we want them to take? So there are certain methods of communication and influence and psychology that can be used to get people to think about things and look at things differently. But the reality is I can only control my thoughts, my words, my actions. And in my locus of control, we have some primal instincts as human beings. And some of those primal instincts are survival. We are going to do what we must to survive and protect ourselves and our family. That's built into our being. We are survival beings first and foremost. Once survival is taken care of, then we move towards consistency. We want consistency. And in these day and times that we're in, there's a lot of inconsistency, which leads to fear, anxiety, worry, depression. That leads to huge uptake this year in suicides, huge uptake in depression and anxiety and just confusion of, whoa, the world that I grew up in is no longer that world. What do I do now? And in many cases, I used to have a job, I don't have a job. I used to have a business, I don't have a business. I mean, a lot of transition. So if you're in that stage and you are uncertain, you're not alone. This is the most uncertain time of pretty much recorded human history. If we really step back and think about it, life has changed dramatically. The way that it used to be is not what it is right now. And what they're trying to push is the way that it will never get back. Like, they're stating it will never go back to normal. And if their agenda, which is backed by trillions of dollars, gets pushed through, it will be what they term the Great Reset. And it will not be like it's before coronavirus and after coronavirus is the game plan. And if you study history, you'll see that we've followed a game plan, whether we knew it or not, whether we had any clue that there was a game plan or not. When you study history, you'll see there were certain game plans, and this one is unfolding pretty much to cue. Like this presentation probably falls into some fold of their predictions. But the bottom line is we have the need for consistency, and we're in very inconsistent times. So we do what we must to survive, and then the next step is finding that consistency, whatever that means to each and every one of us. Survival's taken care of, but now we want a consistent routine where we aren't worried about are we going to be sleeping on the streets? We aren't worried about are we going to have some food to eat, etc. That's survival and consistency. And the next step of human needs is exploration. We love to explore. So that goes into, being a joyous creator. Each of us have certain skills and abilities, our own personality, experience, and perspective. We are good at certain things and terrible at other things, each of us. And it's unique to you, it's unique to me as to what that is. But we love to explore, we love to create, we love to be that joyous creator. And when we're in inconsistent times, there can be kind of a blockade on that creativity, a blockade on that exploration, because the way that it was isn't how it is now. So that leads us to being super vigilant and present, and not, in many cases, being able to explore at the level that we would like to. And one of the things that's a common theme in all of those is our human relations, in our interaction, our collaboration, our co-creation with other humans on this journey, this brief journey we call life. And I say brief, regardless of how long I live or you live, it's brief. I tell my kids, and I've told many of my students, it's like a trip to the amusement park. And reflect on some of the trips that you may have gone to the amusement park, whether it's for a day, 2 days, 3 days, or a week. You're there, you're excited, you're going at it, and before you know it, you're heading home. Whether it's a day, 2 days, 3 days, or a week or more, right? It's over. And similarly, whether, I'm 48 now, whether you made it to 48 or you're way past that, the journey's over brief. My parents were diagnosed and gone from cancer. In 2007, my mom at 52 years old, and in 2009, my father at 56 years old. And I realized then that this journey's quick, right? So make the most of it. But part of the journey, part of the joy, and part of some of the biggest pains are in the relationships, the co-creation with others. And it's a vital part of our survival, our consistency, and our exploration. So in this, we have to recognize not everybody thinks like I do. Not everybody thinks like you do. Thank God it's not just a whole bunch of me's running around or you's running around. There's different perspectives. There's different experiences. There's different personalities. And there's people that believe one way, and there's people that believe 180 degrees the other way. And as far as I run my life, the rules I have is, look, you live your life. I'll take care of me for you. You take care of you for me, right? Live your life. Do what you feel is yours to do. And as far as I'm concerned, it doesn't bother me one bit what you think, what you believe, what you do, as long, I have a caveat, as long as it's not harming others, right? I mean, if you get kicks out of going around just killing people or hurting people, it's not cool in my book, right? And I will protect myself and my family, my loved ones, if that is something that you feel is yours to do, right? That's just, I don't stand for that. And whether I'm out in public and I see that happening, I'm like, hey, look, come on, let's get this back on track. It's not a proper way to conduct ourselves. There's a better way. And that's just some of my. So you do your life, have your beliefs, do your thing, and I'm not going to infringe upon it. And I ask the same. Hey, I'm living my life. I'm doing what I do, and I'm enjoying it, and not bothering anybody. And so you run your life, I'll run mine. But in co-creation, with our friends and with our family, there's going to be differing opinions, and that's okay. And think about this in a family, right? You might have an old grandpa, like, who just, don't talk about this topic. Don't bring up abortion. Good Lord. Oh, geez, Uncle Joe's going to go crazy if you bring up abortion. It's just going to be a topic you'll be sorry you brought up, right? So you use your discernment in co-creating with other humans that you respect, that you love, that you appreciate. And you stay away from the topics that are going to fire that person up and just tick them off, and in the long run, not make it much of an enjoyable situation for you in the process either. And that's just up to each of us to use our discernment and agree to disagree on certain things, and agree to look. My apologies for bringing this topic up. Obviously, you're very passionate about it, as I am, but we also have very differing opinions. And I think we both can agree you're not going to change my mind, and I'm not going to change your mind. So Let's just skip that topic and jump to some other topics that we can enjoy and have some fun with. And it's easy in person to have that type of discernment. It's not so easy when you're looking at a screen and you have these little fancy keyboard in front of you and you can type out things, and in person, you know, I said and done things that I'm ashamed of. That's not a great representation of who I am or what I stand for, meaning I'm human. I make mistakes. I have a huge amount of mistakes that I've made over the years, and I can guarantee there'll be a huge amount of mistakes up and coming. So I thank you for friends and family who stuck with me through those mistakes and are still around, right? Much appreciated. And I have also been on the flip side where I'm still friends with a lot of people that have made some serious mistakes as well. And forgiveness has kicked in on both sides. They've forgiven me, I've forgiven them, and we move on, right? So just remember in this day and age that it is highly emotional, that it is the most interesting times, at least in my life and from my dad's life and my grandpa's life. Maybe my grandpa because he was in World War II, but since World War II, this is the most unusual, unique time we've ever experienced. And I would like to ask you to think of some discernment, to think of some empathy, to think of some compassion, to think of some forgiveness when dealing with our other humans here. And also recognize chances are pretty slim that through a keyboard, I'm going to convince anybody who's opposite beliefs of what I have beliefs of. And flip that around, chances are pretty slim that they're going to convince me through a keyboard of changing our minds. So, when we recognize that, we might as well just, the wall behind me might be a better conversation because I'll have a better chance of convincing the wall than I would someone that believes 180 degrees from me. But when we really break it down, all the things that the media, which if you remember was a continuation of the military industrial complex, one of its goals is to keep us divided and focus more on the differences and focus more on the us versus them situations versus the similarities. And when we really look at it, there's very few differences that we all share, and very many, exponentially more, of the similarities of what we want for ourselves, what we want for our friends and family. And when we really break it down, we're in this together, and none of us get out of here alive. So we can make the most of it, or we can, try to fight and argue everything and everybody that crosses our path. And hey, if that gets your rocks off, great. I probably won't choose to be around you much because I kind of like joy, adventure, and passion in my life. I don't really enjoy and seek out huge amounts of conflict and chaos. I am prepared for it if necessary, but I don't go looking for it for the most part. So thank you once again. I hope all is well with you and yours in these unique times. Just remember, people, regardless of where they are, what situation they're in, from the outside may have everything appear to be all together, but we never know what anybody is going through. And I believe we're either in a serious situation, myself, you, everyone, at this current moment, we're just coming out of a serious situation, or we're about to go into a serious situation, meaning there's a health issue, there's a relationship issue, there's a financial issue, sometimes two of those three, sometimes all three. And if we really look back on our history, you can look through life and see, as long as we're above ground, there's going to be chaos, there's going to be difficulty, there's going to be challenges. My hope is you make the most of it. You use those three words that I learned in the Marine Corps. You improvise, you adapt, you overcome. You get clear on where you are seeking to go, what's your desired outcome, and you take the steps right now to get from where you are to where you want to be. So that's just some insights I want to share. I do some weekly trainings for my friends who own a software company, and they give away their software for free. And everybody that gets their free software is invited to my weekly trainings that go into topics like this and others to help you. It's mostly geared towards business owners and entrepreneurs, but we talk about this type of stuff, how to get from where you are to where you want to be. And I've done it for many weeks and plan on doing it for many weeks to come. You gain access to all the previous ones and you get access to all the live ones every week. I just completed one. It's 9 p.m. here in the East Coast on the Marine Corps birthday, 245th birthday, November 10th, 2020. Just recorded a live training and felt called to share this publicly. But go join me by gating access for free to my friend's software. And you can get it at tombeal.com/groovy. TOMBEAL.com/groovy. I'll see if I have that thing here. Oh, yeah, there you go. So there it is. So go create your free account, tombeal.com/groovy. When you get access to that free software, you don't have to even put a credit card in. There's no trial or anything. It's free. You will join the Facebook group. You'll be invited to the Facebook group with over 100,000 members. And every week, you'll be able to see the training. Actually, if you get in there now and you get invited to the Facebook group, you'll see the training that I did just a short while ago. And it's a pretty good one. And I did one 2 weeks ago that is really a cream of the crop training called, what the heck did I call that one? Um, Lack of clarity is the root of all failure was the title of that training, and it's a really good one. Lack of clarity is the root of all failure, and conversely, clarity is the root of all success. So go get your free account, tombeal.com/groovy. No credit card needed. When you join, they're going to invite you to the Facebook group, and inside there, you'll be able to access the recent trainings as well as upcoming trainings and participate live. All right. Hope this is helpful. Stay safe, stay calm, stay cool, stay collected. Remember, this too shall pass. One step, one day at a time. You've got this. Your best awaits. I'll see you inside the Facebook group. Go register now. tombeal.com/groovy. Talk with you soon. Make today great.